Hey there friends, welcome to the video. I hope you are doing really good today. And in today's video, I'm going to talk about DPDR, anxiety and food allergies. What's actually going on there, and can actually having the wrong food make you better or worse? So right off the bat, I want to say that if you do have any type of food allergies, then obviously you need to go and talk to your doctor about what best to do about that, whether it's dairy or nuts or whatever it is. That is really a question for you and your doctor. And in this video, I'm not going to be talking about how to fix food allergies or anything like that, because that is not my skill set. What I'm really talking about is if you were able to have certain foods before you got anxious, and now that you are anxious, you're finding that those same foods, you can still eat them, but it's actually making you worse, or you might find that it's making you better. That's what I'm going to focus on in this video. And I'm going to focus on why it's happening and also what you can do about it. So I have worked with several clients in the past where they've had a very strict diet, because whatever they did eat had a really negative effect on their symptoms and their anxiety. And it got to the point where one of my clients, he could only really eat pizza. And also, he sort of slowly graduated towards apples, and he just found that those particular types of food didn't give him any extra anxiety. But if he sort of broadened his horizon, so to speak, with regards to food, then the DPDR would come on really strong, and it was just a bit of a mess. So he basically sort of made the conscious choice to not want to eat those types of foods that affected him heavily. And of course, there's things like drinking coffee and also eating sweet things. So what is actually going on here, and what can you do about it? Well, for me, coffee is a bit of a big one. And even before I got anxiety and all that type of stuff, when I had a coffee, sometimes it would be completely and utterly fine. But sometimes after the coffee, the caffeine had sort of worn off, I'd sort of get a little bit jittery, and my jaw would clench a little bit, and I'd feel like I couldn't really properly relax. And the same thing happened when I was also, struggling with my own journey with all of this. Sometimes I would have coffee and it would be completely and utterly fine. And other times I'd have it and I'd be freaked out for the rest of the day. And obviously that's a little bit annoying, because I do like drinking coffee in the morning. So that was a bit of a tricky one, and I'll tell you what I did to sort of best manage that as well. But it's also people, they'll say things like, oh, well, I have some fruit in the morning, some fruit and oatmeal or muesli or something like that. And then they'll find maybe half an hour after having the fruit that they'll start to feel something in their body. And that feeling will sort of start to freak them out, and that would make their anxiety higher, and obviously that would make their symptoms worse. So there's a couple of things which is going on here. Maybe you've experienced those type of things too, or maybe for you it's something different. Maybe it's just the thought of eating a particular food which does this to you. Maybe you are more like me, where you could have the food or the drink and sometimes it'd be okay and sometimes it wouldn't. Or maybe you're a person that you'll eat or drink a particular thing and it will send you over the edge every single time. And regardless of where you fit into any of those three categories, this info is really going to help you. So there's two things which is going on here. There's biochemistry and there's also neurological things. In other words, there's the nutrients which are pumping around your body, and also there's what's actually going on in your mind with all the sort of the chemicals that's happening in your mind. So let's take as an example something like caffeine. Obviously people typically will have it in the morning to help them wake up or whatever it is. But when you're anxious, that caffeine can actually sort of get you a little bit more heightened and get you a little bit more awake and energetic and all that type of stuff. And with anxiety, that can actually be a bit of a double-edged sword, because you're already heightened and you're already awake. So it might have that actual effect on you. And the thing is, well, like say with something like fruit, obviously that's full of sugar, even though it's natural sugar, so it's the good one. like that sugar is going to get released into your body, and then your body is going to get hit with this sugar, and it's going to start to, have more energy, and maybe you're going to start to feel more refreshed, or maybe it's going to start to make you feel more anxious. So that's sort of all the, all the nutrients that are going through your body. The thing is, though, is that really this doesn't really affect anxiety in terms of nutrients going through the body. It's what you feel and what you think about how you are when your body has caffeine pumping through it, or when it's got that sugar rush, or if it's eating that food that you don't like, or the food that you think makes you anxious. It's really what's going on in your mind. And this is the important thing here, because ultimately eating fruit doesn't make you anxious. Having a coffee doesn't make you anxious, because if it did, then people wouldn't do it. So it's what is happening in our mind. And so, for example, let's say that, you had a brownie and you got high from that. And now whenever you have any type of cake or anything like that, you get anxious. Let's actually look at that and see what's happening there. Basically, what you have done is you've anchored the horrible feeling of being high and out of control and panicking and all that type of stuff to a particular type of baked good, which is a brownie. So like, even if you went to a bakery and had a brownie, which is just a genuine brownie, then your mind is going to get triggered, and you're going to have that horrible negative feeling from it. There's things that you can do, such as collapsing an anchor and things like that, and there's lots of ways that you can actually sort of detach yourself from this particular thing to realize that, hey, it's just a brownie, and, it's not going to hurt me. So that's sort of where I'm going at more with this, is that even if it is coffee, even if it is sort of any type of food or drink which makes you anxious, it's what's going in your mind which is actually making you anxious. It's not actually the food or the drink. And this is actually really great news, because it means that if you have been avoiding certain foods or drinks, now you can go back and start to eat them, or at least that the door is open there for you to go and eat them again. You see, it's actually really interesting, and on a sort of a more general note, a lot of people will ask me, can XYZ make me more anxious? Or can XYZ make DPDR happen? Or, like just anything. Can this make me anxious? Can this make me anxious? Can this make me anxious? Can this make DPDR worse? Can that? Can riding a bike, can eating an apple, can having a brownie, can having a coffee, can walking at night, just whatever it is, just insert activity there. Can it make you more anxious? And the answer is, if it makes you anxious, then yes, it can make you more anxious. But inherently by itself, it's not necessarily going to make you more anxious. It's more about how you associate with it and what you think around it. And it's exactly the same with food. And I think there is sort of like a ray of hope on the horizon for all of this with you, because unless it is a genuine food allergy and you've been tested by the doctor and they've told you what you can and can't do, or can and can't eat, or whatever medication that you have to take for it, or whatever it is, if it's not that, then it's pretty much just anxiety. And the great news with that is that you can recover from it, and you can get better, and you can go out there and drink coffee, and obviously and do whatever, eat whatever foods and that you have been missing out on. And so, my friends, take heart that you are going to be able to eat these things again, and you are going to be able to drink these things again. And really what I would encourage you to do now is to think about, well, what is it about this particular thing which makes you anxious? Is it that you did have a bad experience with a brownie, and so now you don't want to have any type of brownies because of that? Is it that if you do eat lots of fruit or whatever, then you do get the sugar rush and you don't actually like the physical feeling that sugar rush gives you? And then you think about, well, why don't you like it? Oh, because it makes me feel out of control, or makes me feel like I'm going to explode. And it's like, oh, well, why is that a problem? Why is it a problem that if you did get out of control? It's like, oh, well, if I got out of control, then I'd worried I might do something bad or out of character, or I might embarrass myself. It's like, okay, well, why would it be an issue if you did something out of character? Oh, because if I'm out of character, then it means I actually have no control over my body and I'm not actually getting better. And so you see, like if you go down layer, you might feel that, or you might think that having an apple, which gives you a sugar rush, it's actually the apple doing it, but it's not. Really secretly deep down is that you don't want to lose control. And so once you get to that real root issue of not wanting to lose control or whatever it actually is, then you can address that and you realize that it's actually nothing to do with the apple whatsoever. It's just you're thinking that it does and you're telling yourself that it does. And so therefore it's the apple's fault, where in fact it's something which is completely different to that. And so my friends, I hope this video has helped, and I hope it has given you a little bit more information and enlightenment and awareness about this, because with all those things, that is where recovery comes from. And so my friends, you have a good rest of your day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.